Welcome to another exciting show of transformation. Prosper with Wayne, creating wealth, health, and happiness in your life. With your host, life and business coach, author, entrepreneur, and lover of life, Wayne Sutton. Prepare to become excited, expand your beliefs, and truly prosper in all the areas of your life. Enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Prosper with Wayne. We are here today with an amazing, and I have to say this, an amazing coach. I'm absolutely just honored to be able to have met and discover what this woman is doing. So if you're a coach, I want you to listen closely because she's going to probably break the mold of some of the thinking that you may have had when it comes to coaching. You know, life coaching, business coaching, prosperity, happiness. But what about alcoholism? What about being sober? What about working with people and truly not just changing lives, but saving lives first? And then from that saving, change it over to a place of transformation. So, you know, I bring you coaches every week. We talk, we train, we certify. And not only do we train and certify coaches here, we just like to work and connect with coaches outside of our circle because I believe we're all created to transform lives. So I am extremely excited to have Belle with us. Belle, you introduced yourself as the sober coach.
That's quite an introduction, my goodness.
Well, I mean, it's hard to place in words when you change lives. I think sometimes people take for granted what we really do, and I was amazed because, and I'll share a little of my story and why this is so important to me, but I just want to say thanks for jumping on our podcast, Prosper with Wayne, and thanks for sharing your story with all of our listeners. So, Belle, you're the sober coach. You've got to just introduce yourself. This is your floor. This is your arena.
All right.
Take charge. But just tell us, what does the sober coach mean?
A sober coach is a person who works with other people to help them to be sober. Now, that sounds relatively straightforward. It just turns out that, you know, if you roll back the tape about 10 or 15 years, before we were really using the internet for everything, if you go back before Facebook, which is not that long ago, and go back even before cell phones, anybody who had an over-drinking problem, whether they had large consequences from their drinking or small consequences from their drinking, the only things that were really available that anybody knew about was AA or rehab. And so if you think about what's happened since the internet has evolved, is it now makes it possible for people to connect online and to get support with things like quitting drinking, but it's also with any other kind of transformation, like you said. You can train for a marathon with an online coach. You can lose weight with an online coach.
Absolutely.
Well, it turns out you can also quit drinking with an online coach. But one of the advantages to an online version is that it's actually anonymous, which means you don't ever have to say your real name. And you know, AA is anonymous, but you still have to put yourself in the room.
Sure.
And so, I mean, there's also AA phone meetings. There's lots of ways to be sober using AA, and that's what most people think of. But if you're somebody whose drinking problems perhaps are not significant enough in your own mind that you think that you need to go to AA, then what is there for you? So if you're drinking 2-3 glasses of wine a night, but it's every night, and you know something is up, but you don't want to go to AA for whatever reason, what else is there? Or if you're drinking 3 bottles of wine a night, and you know something's up, but you don't want to go to AA, then what else is there? And so just in the last little while, like 7-8 years, there's this online sober support thing. And you think about it, there's online support for infertility treatment. There's online support for, you know, my husband has mental health issues. There's online support for all kinds of things. But to actually have like a coachy person directing, helping, advising, answering questions. But the thing that I do that's a bit unusual is that I do it one-on-one. So lots of coaches would set up a group and put 20 or 5 or 30 people in a group, a closed Facebook group or some other kind of private thing. What I found, at least for me, and with this kind of transformation, is that it works better one-on-one. And I might argue that lots of coaching works better one-on-one. It's just hard to scale.
Yeah.
So if we talk
Yeah.
about what's actually best is for somebody to feel heard. So I'm one of the only online sober coaches who does one-on-one work back and forth with people daily. Like I have a pen pal thing where you can email me daily and get answers and ask questions to your specific situation. Like today I'm dealing with a vacation, and then the next day today I'm dealing with my, ex-wife, and then the next day today I'm dealing with my special needs kid. How do I do that and be sober?
That's amazing. That's good. So I'm gonna ask a couple questions. Number one, for those who may be listening to this that need your services, we definitely want to make that a way for them to get in touch with you. But also because we are an organization of coaches and consultants, I may ask a few technical questions and only answer as you feel comfortable. But you mentioned you have a pen pal. Is that kind of like an app that you use, or
no, it's an email.
They literally
it's like,
just get your
no,
phone?
You send me an email,
an
and I send you an email back.
Okay.
No, it's not automated. In fact, it started off by I originally quit drinking about 7 years ago, and I thought I was only going to quit for a month, like as a trial. And then as I got going, I realized I liked it, and I liked the way that my life had evolved and transformed in that short period of time. And so I thought, okay, I'll keep going. But I was writing about it the whole time on my blog. And this is, again, before Facebook. So 7 years ago, it was all WordPress blogs. That's how we communicated daily with people.
That's true.
Before Facebook Live, before Instagram. I know it seems so long ago, but 2012 is, not that long ago.
It really is, and it's amazing what we have done. And thankfully, with Facebook, been able to reach out. But I always tell people, too, we need to look at what's available other than that, because that could change in an instant. And people, we want to be able to serve people. And so I'll throw a recommendation for all of my coaches that are listening to this. Great having that daily email. One of the things we recommend, Dale, is Voxer, Voxer.
Yes, for the videos.
And no, Voxer is actually not for video. Voxer is kind of like a walkie-talkie application.
Okay.
So it's very great for the people. It's anonymous for that person. They don't have to give their phone number or anything either. It kind of sets them up as a profile. You can have groups, which I understand you don't want because it's anonymous. But you can anonymously text. You can do voice recordings of your voice. Mm-hmm. But the beautiful thing is it keeps the track of that. It's free, but it keeps a track. So you can actually, what did Belle say to me 3 days ago? Does it really help? They can just go back, and it's just a really neat something to consider for all. I tell all of our coaches, definitely get on Voxer. Right. So you came from a struggle to helping people out. So you came from somebody that was into let's just say you were addicted to alcohol, and now you're breaking that and you're helping other people.
Right. Except that I would differentiate between a physical addiction and a psychological addiction.
That's interesting. I'd love to tell. Do you mind sharing?
Sure. I mean, a physical addiction must have it to feel normal. And that your body is yelling for it in the way that you might imagine being addicted to cocaine. But it's also possible to be psychologically addicted to something that changes your mood really quickly, or helps you relax, or you think that's what you're doing. And I think that, like most people, I had a glass of wine with dinner. I'd have a glass of wine after dinner. You don't think anything of that. And you go along a little bit, and then something happens in your life, something good, and you think, I must have alcohol for that, like a celebration. You sign a book contract, you get married, whatever. You think, oh, I need booze for that. But then when there's something bad happens, like a funeral, you think, oh, I need booze for that. And you realize that you're using alcohol to sort of regulate your emotions for both good and bad, right? Like not just I'm lonely, I drink, or I'm shy, I drink, but I'm exhausted, I drink. I'm jet lagged, I drink. I have a cold, I drink. Happy, sad, mad, glad. So that's the challenge then becomes, if you're psychologically addicted, you believe you need it to survive life. And then you try to remove it, and you realize it's really hard because your brain thinks you need it to relax. And it's like we don't learn any other way to relax, right? We don't learn other coping strategies when we have alcohol. But when you remove the alcohol, not only do you learn how to evolve and make these other changes for yourself without using the booze, but you realize that a whole bunch of other things are affected, like your sleep and dumb calories consumed and how much money you spend, and lots of other aspects of your life change once the alcohol is removed.
And, from a
But what
psychological
I found
level,
was that when I was trying to quit for my original 30 days, it turned out to be harder than I thought to actually remove it, even though I wasn't physically addicted.
So, Bill, that's really interesting because I teach, and all of my coaches hear me teach a lot about anchor and how these psychological anchors to, everything are related to our quote-unquote happiness in life. We see that especially in advertising. Here's the half-naked, sexy woman, and there's Budweiser.
Right.
Nothing to do with the beer except it's this, they want that emotional, that dopamine to fire off, and then all of a sudden they anchor their product to it.
Right.
And so we do that. We see this. We see it in movies where if we're going to be relaxed and cool, we're going to have a drink. If we're going to celebrate, we're going to have a drink.
Right.
We're lonely, we have a drink.
Right.
You're exactly right.
And what you never see on television is
amazing.
somebody like me who says maybe 2 glasses of wine, 3 glasses of wine a night isn't a good idea. Maybe I'll try having none. Like, we never see that. That isn't represented in the media. And so most people who quit drinking don't know anybody who's done it, unless the person themselves had a very low bottom. It's called a bottom in drinking world. Like, if you have a high bottom, it means you had fewer consequences. And if you had a low bottom, it means you had more consequences. So we know someone who's been to rehab, and we know someone who's had a drink driving arrest. What we don't know is people who quit drinking before bad things happen, when they realize that they're relying on it more than they want to. And so this is sometimes called gray area drinking, but it turns out, though, that this is what I thought I was, and this is the kind of stuff that I was creating, like writing about on my blog when I first started. What I didn't know was that my approach would be useful to people who had different levels of alcohol consumption. So whether you were drinking 2 glasses of wine a night or 2 bottles of wine a night, you would still find some of the stuff that I was talking about useful. I didn't know that. When I started, I thought I would only work with people exactly like me. It didn't even occur to me that someone would go to AA and use me and have a pen pal and a sponsor. Or they'd go to rehab. I have pen pals email me from rehab, setting up their supports for when they get home. I never thought that would happen. I never thought I'd work with a mother of 3 kids under the age of 11, all on the autism spectrum, all 3 boys. I never thought I'd work with her. But I never thought I'd work with a psychiatrist. Because if you think it's hard to go to AA, imagine being a psychiatrist.
Or a pastor.
Or a pastor. Just had a pastor sign up in the last week. I've had a pilot in the last couple of months. Lots of people from everywhere, gender non-important, life situation non-important, age 22 to 75, literally.
Wow.
And so there's lots of people out there like me thinking that they're drinking too much, but there aren't enough resources for us. So that's the kind of sober coaching that I do.
Well, I love that because, again, before I did coaching, I was doing Christian counseling, and we did it by phone. Because we found, hey, it's really hard for the husband and the wife to already having problems, put the kids in daycare or find a sitter and then come to an office and meet with me. When usually it was just one of the 2 parties that wanted help anyway. So it was really tough and it was embarrassing. And then when I really, Bill, I started getting, as you said, I got pastors.
Yep.
And I got government leaders, and I started going, oh, I see that they would not dare be seen walking into the door.
Right.
And also, because it was more convenient, it was easy for them to go through 10, 12 sessions and really find some breakthrough instead of just 1 or 2 sessions.
Yes.
And
I've also found
show the statistics on that.
You can get people all over the world, too. I mean, in my case, I can work with anybody who's in an English-speaking country, and including people in Germany who speak English. Like, I have clients from pen pals and subscribers. We didn't really talk about the kind of model that I have, but probably
we'll talk about it,
80% of what I do is completely free. And so I have like 23,000 subscribers to my daily email. The thing about email that I like compared to Facebook and Instagram is that it's push rather than pull. It goes into your inbox. You don't have to reach out for the support. It arrives to you. And if you have an audience, like I do, of people who've subscribed to get the kind of stuff that I'm sending out because they think that I've got something to say that's useful to them, obviously that's a given.
Yes.
But speaking to your coaches, I can email my list 1 to 4 times a day because I'm giving them information that is useful to them. Lots of times you hear about coaches emailing once a week.
No, once a week is I always
Right?
tell people you definitely want content out there quickly
Right, and you want
and
to,
consistently.
and different kinds of content. Like I have things to
Different
read,
kinds
and
of
then I
content.
have audios, and then I have short audios, then I have long audios, then I have paid audios, and of course you could ignore the paid and stay with all the free stuff, which is what most people do. 80% of the people in my mailing list have never sent me $1, nor do they need to, because the 20% who pay more than support everybody else. And so I think it's probably called a freemium model. Like it's sort of like Facebook.
Yes,
Most people who use Facebook don't pay. It's the advertisers who pay. Most
that's
people
exactly right.
who
Yeah.
use Facebook don't
Hmm.
pay anything, and are quite happy with investing in their relationship with Facebook, never spending any money.
Yeah.
So I send out emails with things to read, and I share bits and pieces from my other pen pals, other experiences, audios, stuff, visual
That's awesome.
stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then. So somebody that's listening to this, so always at the end of the podcast, I like to give you an opportunity, but I want to kind of jump in now because I know one person hearing this, it could save their life. What's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you? Just say, hey, I just wanted to get your emails. I just wanted to learn about you. I always tell people we want to, bring content easily. What's the best way for somebody to find out about you and what you're doing?
I would sign up for the daily free emails, which is the way you're going to get the most information. And you would go to the website, which is tiredofThinkingAboutDrinking.com, and put your name in the box there. That's the easiest way. And then you get the free daily emails with links to other things, both free and paid. You pick from that whatever suits you, or you just stay with the free stuff, of course, and that's fine also. I'm also on Facebook, where I do some live Facebook groups. Not groups, live Facebook videos, and I put links to those in the daily emails. I record podcasts.
That's awesome.
They're free on iTunes. I give you the link to that in the emails. So the emails really is the center place.
And that's great. So my coaches, hear what she just said. One source that leads to all of her different email,
right,
and then let it lead to everything else. So that's very important for our coaches. You really want to grab a hold of that because everybody has an email.
Right.
Some people have Facebook. Some people use iTunes and podcasts.
Right.
Everybody has an email, so use that.
But it's also a way to reach
and
people without having to wait for them to reach to you. Once somebody subscribes for your mailing list, then you have permission to email them about things that are useful to them. You cannot violate that one time.
Which is, again, why I'm going to have you, Bill, check out Voxer, and we'll talk privately about how to set up some group broadcasts where everybody's still anonymous. You can reach everybody with an update every day, voice updates. Really cool.
Right.
So this is something, I love what she said earlier. I want you to grab this, guys, premium. She is serving a large number of people, and I could see it being even much larger. But from the large number of people that she's serving, that maybe they need that email, maybe they need that help, she's really helping people that need it right now also. Because I know working with different addicts, that sometimes it's a right now. I need help now. It can literally be life or death. And having somebody that says, hey, I'm willing to invest in this. Because I know also what treatment centers cost, and I know what it costs, so having somewhere they can say, hey, Bill, here's my credit card. Help me. And that you offer that as a service is amazing also.
Right.
So, people need to be really clear. It's okay. And all of my coaches hear this, and everybody that's ever hired a coach hear this, it's okay to invest in you. And sometimes that means paying somebody, but it's really investing in yourself, because that person has the education, the training, the skill set to really help you get to where you need to be. So,
well, there's lots of times in our lives where we've used that kind of coaching. Like if you were going to be a lawyer, you wouldn't just get a box of books dropped off at your front door. You'd have a mentor and a coach and a teacher and a group and an assignment, and you'd have obligations and you'd have accountability. We don't just learn these things alone in our head. We don't just solve the problem of how to improve our marathon time alone in our head. We at the very least read a book, but we're often enrolled in clinics with other people where you show up, where you train together, where somebody gives you advice. That's how we learn to drive a car. We don't just sit in the car and hope that we can understand it by staring at it, which is how most people try to solve mental health things or addiction things. They hope that they'll wake up one day and just feel like it. And that's sort of like sitting in a car and hoping that one day you'll learn how to drive it instead of having a passenger sit beside you, tell you which lane to be in, tell you to slow down. I mean, eventually you don't need them, but in the beginning, so that you don't crash your car, and it's certainly with addiction stuff, there is the ability to crash your car both metaphorically and realistically. Really, you can really crash your car, or you can drive your sober car off the road. So, there's sort of like, there's an amount of time where we want to try to work it out on our own. And then there's a time where you realize that if you had but sometimes even if it's just a cheerleader, if you had somebody saying, good job, day 6, that's a big deal.
Yes.
Hooray for
Absolutely.
you. Like, it turns out we can make really large, meaningful changes in our lives with a bit of cheerleading. And I wouldn't have known that before I started this. I had no idea. I had no idea that emailing a stranger or that somebody getting an email from me would make any difference at all. Like, it seems like it shouldn't work.
Well, because the world is starving for attention. The world needs that cheerleader. A number of years ago, Bill, I had a client that after about 6 or 7 sessions, we'd worked through some areas of their life. And so I'm trying to really, I talk a lot about what are we focused on? What's our outcome for this coaching session? And I kept trying to bring her back to an outcome. And she interrupted me. She said, please take this the right way.
Yeah, I don't want an outcome.
I'm not.
I want you to hear me.
I want you to hear me. That's what I want to talk to.
I don't want no outcome.
I said, you do realize you have looked at your credit card statement and you realize what you're.
Yeah.
She said, listen.
Yeah.
If I ask you, if you have some advice, great, but please just listen to me. And you know what? She's been one of my best clients. And some, maybe 4 or 5, it literally is every 4 or 5 sessions, she'll say, Wayne, what about this? I need to work on this. But the rest of it is we've become great friends, and I'm not saying you buy friends, but she understands. She is paying for coaching, but sometimes it's just an ear to hear, and it really does help.
Right.
And sometimes you're going to have that little incremental shift of the way they're thinking or what they're doing, and that email is going to show up at the right time. So I truly love your business model. And from somebody that, I'll give you an example, my father was a functioning alcoholic at the end of his life. He passed away from a number of health issues, but main issue was cirrhosis. And but really, when I look back at his alcoholism, it was because of the loss of my mother, pain. So I drink. I'm in a new relationship. We're having fun, so we drink. Everything was really like it was anchored around the alcohol. And then in his sadness, it was, but then I drink more. So having somebody that really was loneliness and not knowing how to handle the emotional up and down of life.
Right.
So you're really serving people probably on a bigger area than you even know. So we can go to your website. But
I know that for each person who's sober, like there's 100 people around them that are impacted. Like, it's not just your kids and your immediate family, it's their partners and their children and how they interact with the world. Like, if you die by slipping in the bathtub having had too much to drink, your death is going to radiate out around you and affect 100 people around you who are going to say, I didn't know she had a drinking problem. Why didn't she ask?
Yeah.
What a shame. What an awful way to go. And then that impacts everybody else's relationships going forward. So, I mean, if mom gets sober at 45 or 65 or 25, it changes her whole family. If dad gets sober at 45 and is now available to his teenage son, that changes that kid's life. I mean, it changes dad's life. Yes, it definitely changes dad's life. But to be available to like a 16-year-old boy who actually wants to talk to his father, who isn't avoiding you because you're hungover or have already had 2 drinks. I mean, kids know that stuff. They know.
Absolutely.
So then you being there for him changes his life, which changes his relationships, which changes his academics, which changes his, his whole life, really. And it doesn't matter. I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It's better to do it earlier, obviously. It is still hugely impactful for an adult parent to be sober at 60. Even if you didn't get your shit together up until then and you didn't get it together until 60.
Yes.
it's still okay
Yeah.
to do it then. Because it still changes everything, because then now you'll have permission to see your grandchildren that you may not have had you continue to drink.
That's so true. That's so true. I actually worked with a gentleman that was sober for over 30 years, and his wife passed away. And he was probably almost 70 when he started back drinking, and it was a downhill battle from there to try to get him to. Yeah. And it really is. It's really a sad place, but we see it a lot. And we need people like you. I honor you, Bill. I really do. I wanted just to go through. I know we talked before our podcast. We talked about a number of things, and I really want to highlight to the people that are listening to this, going, "Wow, I need this," or maybe my friend needs this. That you can be truly anonymous.
Right.
That's why we didn't do a Facebook Live with this. That's why we didn't do our video podcast. We decided to do auditory because people need to see you. It's a world of you can't do anything today without being on camera
well,
somewhere.
That's right. And we didn't say that, but you're right. My pen pals are anonymous, but so am I. And we didn't say that overtly, but I'll say it now. I'm also anonymous, which means that when I do a Facebook Live, I point the camera out and I show you where I live, which is in Paris, which is a nice view. When I'm traveling, I show you where I am. I can still do a Facebook Live, you just don't see my head. I don't think it's required to. I think it's helpful if everybody's anonymous. It's helpful for all of us. But I also think it's very weird to be like an influencer, quote unquote, and be anonymous. Like it's like the complete counterintuitive advice. Like most coaches, you'd be told. Really, you'd be told, get your face out there, get your name out there. Post something every day about you, and what I have found that is if you actually work directly with people and help them, you don't have to do any advertising. You don't have to do any promoting.
Absolutely. It's what problem do you solve? What problem do you solve, and what heart can you heal? There was a Christian minister, and I'll say this laughing. I still don't know his name, and he's released his name since then, but he put out these books. And he had these books out for these little articles. Started with these articles on Facebook. And he was a medic. And so it was literally the praying medic. Right. And he would how he was on like an ambulance, and he would pray for these people. And he started seeing people actually recover, get healed and stuff. And he said all of these articles, and he got into talking about God and religion. And nobody knew his face because he had a job. He had to protect himself.
Oh, okay.
Because what happens is if he prayed for somebody and they died, and you're the one that picked up my dad and he died. Did you serve him right, or were you praying for him? That kind of thing. So he protected his faith. But what happened was he got more and more popular. He got more and more helping more and more people. He wrote several books. He was still anonymous. And then after a while, he finally came out on a television show, and there was his face, and there's who he is. But it shows that people didn't need to know who he was.
No.
He was protecting himself, but he still brought the information. I love that.
Well, I think also the focus, though, is that it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about me emailing somebody so that they can make a change in their life. And if I make it about me, I'm in trouble. Because, in fact, ego feeds addiction. And it's like absolutely the wrong path in my world, and I'm sure in lots of other people's worlds. If you get ego in there, then you're making decisions about what's best for you, not what's best for the person that you are serving. And now, I have to have boundaries, and I have to make a limit of how many people I can work with at a time. And I have a waiting list of people to work with me because I'm very careful about my own boundaries. It's possible to serve and still take care of yourself, but I can't make it about me because, you know what? If you're on day 2 sober, you don't care about me. You don't care that I live in Paris. You don't care that I'm married. You don't care that my husband is an artist. You don't care about any of it. You're on day 2. So I can't share a lot. I don't share a lot of personal things all the time. I do it occasionally. But if I was posting pictures of my lunch, which I've done, in fact, on Facebook, and someone will rightly say, what does this have to do with quitting drinking? Because they're there to be supported to quit drinking, not to see what my lunch was. Because, in fact, my lunch is irrelevant to your sobriety.
That's exactly right. That's so great.
Right.
Bill, listen to me. I have more than enjoyed this podcast. I could talk to you for hours, but what we're going to do is give people the opportunity to learn more about you through your website.
Okay.
Definitely, guys, listen, go to the website, follow the links, listen to her on iTunes. Go listen to her podcast. Subscribe, give her a good rating. It is an amazing podcast, what I've already been listening to.
Oh, great.
And truly, Bill, I want to just say, go out there and just serve. I really believe that as you serve people, more people will come. I don't believe it's just a law of reciprocity. I believe it really is a divine law. As we serve others and we prove faithful that we can serve, then I believe our Creator brings new people to us to serve. And so it's amazing, really it is, that you're in Paris, I'm in North Carolina, and we got people from literally, I have students in Japan, Australia, different places. It is really so fun to be able to just change lives and be part of what's happening in the world today. Mm-hmm. And if you have any kind of, if you or anyone you know has a addiction, or maybe think they may have an addiction, just want some help, just want some advice, then please check out Belle's site again. And it will definitely be in our show notes. It'll definitely be on our website as well. And for those who are listening to this, and maybe you're thinking, you know what, I want to help people. I want to change lives. I want to become a coach, a consultant, an advisor. Then I want you to grab a hold of our book. Grab a hold of our book, Life Coach You. You can go to lifecoachlifestyle.com, lifecoachlifestyle.com. And we call it that because it is a lifestyle. I can live where I want to live. I can do what I want to do most of the day. I do have a wife and children, so I have responsibilities. But I can go and live and coach and train and help people and truly live out my life. And that's what it means to me to be a life coach, is to really transform lives. So pick up a book, lifecoachlifestyle.com. And obviously go over to prosperwithwayne.com. You can check out our webinar, our videos, our blog, and so much more. And, Bill, any closing thoughts, anything you would like to leave to either the coaches or just the general population, whoever's listening to this, because I know you have so much to give, but just a last thought.
I would say that in general, the message that I give to people who are worried about their drinking is that you're not alone. And that you don't know anybody else who's done this doesn't mean that there aren't thousands of us doing it. And it's okay to reach out, to surround yourself with people who are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to achieve. Because we do exist, and they may not be on your street, and they may not be in your church, and they may not be at your job, but they exist, and you can find them. And that goes for the other kinds of coaching things too. I would say to the coaches who are listening, if they're interested in signing up for the free daily emails just to look at how I do things, I'm okay with that too, because you're not required to buy anything. Anybody can sign up and just look around. I'm happy for that.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Guys, again, Belle, we bless you. We thank you. It was an honor having you. Website, one more time.
Tiredofthinkingaboutdrinking.com, all one word.
Tiredofthinkingaboutdrinking.com. And, of course, guys, I'm here for you always. If you need us, get in touch with us. We are excited about our upcoming, we have a new training that we're uploading for all of our students. It's called The Wealthy Coach. If you're not at $10,000 a month yet, and you want to be, we're going to give you the marketing plan, everything that we do here to make profitable coaches. If you are at 10, but maybe you're ready to scale to 15, 20, 30,000, maybe you don't really want to scale financially, but you want some more freedom in your own coaching business, then be sure to jump on our webinar. Again, go to prosperwithwayne.com, get our book, because the webinar is going to show you our new program, The Wealthy Coach. And for our current students, if you're listening to this at the time of recording, we are on session 4 now, so make sure you do your homework, come prepared to change lives. Thanks, everyone, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us again at Prosper with Wayne. Be sure to subscribe to us for more exciting, life-changing episodes. Go today, in fact. Go now to prosperwithwayne.com and enter your email for our exclusive newsletter and other resources. God bless and go prosper.